Welcome to today's Explainer. Have you ever actually stopped to think about the crazy paradox of modern blockbusters? We sit there in these massive theaters with laser projection, totally immersive surround sound, and jaw-dropping visual effects, but the actual blueprints of the stories we're watching, they are unimaginably old. So today we're unpacking Mythic Echoes, the ancient architecture of modern cinema, to see exactly how the absolute biggest movies in the world are built on these ancient, completely unchanging foundations. So why exactly do modern films feel like ancient myths? Think about the very last time you went to the theater. You sit down, you've got your popcorn, the lights go down, and even though you're watching the newest, absolute most anticipated release of the year, something about the story just feels strangely familiar, doesn't it? It's like this echo of something you already know deep down in your bones. But why is that? Okay, let's dive into this. It's because nothing has changed. Literally only the costumes have. It really is that simple, but man, it is so profound. Because underneath all that billion-dollar CGI, underneath the capes, the spandex, and the laser blasters, the storytelling system operating right there beneath the surface is completely ancient. We are basically looking at the exact same architectural framing that people used thousands of years ago. It's just dressed up in modern technological clothing. Section 1. The Modern Myth's Illusion. Section 2. The Ancient Story Formula. So look, the sheer spectacle of modern cinema is a brilliant illusion, right? It totally tricks us into thinking we're consuming something entirely new, when in reality, we're participating in one of the oldest human traditions there is. These aren't just vague concepts. These are structural pillars that have literally survived since humanity first gathered around ancient campfires to share tales. It is this established, repeatable system of the hero's path. First step, step 1, heroes. We always start with a central archetype, somebody we can immediately latch onto. Step 2, journeys. The hero gets propelled out of their totally normal world and thrust right into the unknown. Step 3 is sacrifice, because the path is never easy. It always requires facing some profound trial and giving something major up. And finally, step 4, transformation. The hero emerges on the other side, forever changed by the whole experience. Heroes, journeys, sacrifice, transformation. You see, this isn't just random creativity happening on screen. It's a highly structured formula that dictates exactly how all our favorite narratives unfold. And if we look at the origins of this formula, these foundational patterns trace directly back to classical storytelling. We're talking about Homer, the Grand Greek epics, and ancient storytelling systems that were developed before written language even existed. It is this incredible, unbroken chain of narrative architecture. The exact same framework that guided those ancient oral traditions is the exact same framework running the scripts of today's massive mega franchises. Section 3. Heroes of Hollywood. So how does this actually translate to your Friday night plans at the multiplex? Well, while Homer's Greek epics and Marvel blockbusters might look completely different on the surface, they're following the exact same ancient myth logic. Just think about it. Take Odysseus trying to find his way home across the sea, and then compare that to, say, Tony Stark trying to escape a cave in a makeshift suit of armor. Those mighty warriors traversing the Aegean Sea have basically just been swapped out for superpowered beings traversing the multiverse. But the underlying logic, the character arcs, those crucial structural checkpoints of the journey, they remain completely identical. The heroes of Hollywood are really just the newest iteration of a very, very old design. Section 4. Storytelling Psychology. We've established what the formula is and exactly where it came from, but now we have to ask the ultimate why. Why has this specific formula survived for millennia? Well, it really comes down to emotional structures. By that, I mean the completely unchanging psychological receptors in the human brain that respond to narrative patterns. You see, our brains literally haven't evolved past the need for these specific, deep-seated rhythms of tension, release, sacrifice, and triumph. We still fundamentally crave these ancient structures because, quite frankly, our psychological hardware is completely hardwired to process the world through them. And this brilliantly illustrates the core concept of our entire explainer. Stories do not evolve. They repeat in new forms. It is just such a definitive, powerful statement. We so often think of art and media as constantly progressing, constantly pushing into entirely new territories. But the underlying story architecture, it's a closed system. It really doesn't evolve. It just puts on a new mask, adopts some flashy new technology, and repeats itself for a brand new generation. So, I'm going to leave you with a bit of a challenge. What ancient myth are you watching this weekend? Because the very next time you sit down in a dark theater or queue up a massive blockbuster at home on the couch, I want you to try and see past that modern illusion. Really look past the CGI and the contemporary dialogue and try to spot the matrix. Look for that ancient architecture, the heroes, the journeys, the sacrifice, and the transformation just operating right there in plain sight. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and as always, keep learning.